The airport was bustling with activity, a whirlwind of unfamiliar faces and languages. My name is Maria, and as I stepped off the plane into a new country, I felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. Leaving my home in Colombia was the hardest decision I'd ever made, but I was determined to build a better life for myself and my daughter Sofia in this new land. The first few weeks were a blur of confusion and isolation. The language barrier was overwhelming. Simple tasks like grocery shopping or asking for directions felt like insurmountable challenges. Sofia, being only 8, adapted quickly, picking up English phrases from school and cartoons. But for me, every interaction was a reminder of my limitations. I often felt like a child myself, unable to express my thoughts or understand the world around me. Determined not to let the language barrier define my experience, I enrolled in an English language course at the local community center. The classroom was filled with other immigrants from all corners of the world, each with their own story of struggle and hope. Our teacher, Mrs. Johnson, was patient and kind, encouraging us to practice speaking without fear of making mistakes. The lessons were challenging. My tongue struggled with unfamiliar sounds, and I often felt frustrated by my slow progress. But I kept at it, studying late into the night after putting Sofia to bed. I carried a small notebook with me everywhere, jotting down new words and phrases I encountered throughout the day. I practiced with anyone who would listen, from neighbors to shopkeepers, often stumbling over words but always pushing forward. One day, Sofia came home from school with a flyer for a community potluck. "Mom, we should go," she said, her eyes bright with excitement. "It's a chance to meet people." The thought of mingling with strangers was daunting, but I knew it was important for both of us to build connections. We spent the evening before the event cooking arepas, a traditional Colombian dish, hoping to share a piece of our culture with our new neighbors. The potluck was a turning point. People were warm and welcoming, eager to learn about us and our journey. As we shared our arepas, I found myself relaxing, laughing, and engaging in conversations. My English was far from perfect, but I realized that most people didn't mind. They appreciated my effort and were patient and supportive. One person who stood out was Mrs. Thompson, an elderly woman who lived down the street. She had a gentle demeanor and spoke slowly, ensuring I could follow along. "Language is more than words, Maria," she told me. "It's about connection, understanding, and the willingness to learn." Mrs. Thompson became a mentor and friend. She invited me over for tea, and we would spend hours chatting about our lives, our dreams, and our families. She corrected my English gently, offering encouragement and support. Through her, I met more people in the community, forming bonds that made me feel less alone. As my confidence grew, I sought out opportunities to integrate further. I volunteered at Sofia's school, helping with events and activities. It was a way to practice my English and show Sofia that we were part of this community. The other parents and teachers were welcoming, and I began to feel a sense of belonging. One evening, Mrs. Johnson, my English teacher, invited me to speak at a local event about my experience as an immigrant. The thought terrified me, but she insisted. "Your story is powerful, Maria. It can inspire others." On the day of the event, I stood in front of a room full of people, my heart pounding in my chest. I took a deep breath and began to speak. I talked about the challenges, the fears, and the triumphs. I spoke about the kindness of strangers, the importance of community, and the power of perseverance. As I finished, the room erupted in applause. Tears filled my eyes as I realized how far I had come. I was no longer the scared, isolated woman who had arrived months ago. I was part of this community, and I had found my voice. In the months that followed, I continued to build on my progress. I took on a part-time job at a local bakery where I could practice my English daily. Sofia thrived in school, her laughter a constant reminder of why we had made this journey. Our home, once filled with uncertainty, was now a place of warmth and hope. Through determination and the unwavering support of my new community, I had overcome the language barrier and begun to build a new life. The journey was far from over, but I had learned that perseverance, kindness, and a willingness to learn could bridge any gap. My story was just one of many, a testament to the resilience and strength of those who seek a better future in a new land. As I tucked Sofia into bed one night, she looked up at me and smiled. "I'm proud of you, Mom," she said. "You're so brave." Tears welled up in my eyes as I kissed her forehead. Thank you, mi amor. We're brave together. In that moment, I knew that we had not only found a new country, but a new home filled with endless possibilities and the promise of a brighter tomorrow.